Philharmonic State Orchestra.
We need more classical music.
And you will understand why.
How much?
You cannot afford it.
I think I would start with a question that I had for many years. What is the best pronunciation of your family name?
Ferrault.
Ferrault.
Yeah, French name can be complicated sometimes, I know.
Yes.
Because you spell it F-E-R-R-A-U-L-T.
And half of the letters we don't pronounce
Yes.
at all.
So, Ferrault. Thinks of the ancient king of Egypt.
What brought you to UAE, for the first time?
Right. Well, the response is very simple. My wife, because she's the one who had the career assignment from a company. At that time, she was working for FedEx, American logistic company.
In France?
In France, yes. And the first time we came to Dubai was back in 1996.
So 96, the past millennium.
Exactly, the last century. Okay. And the last millennium, yes, absolutely. And we stayed for 5 years, so 96 to 2001, because FedEx needed my wife back to France, so we went back to France. And we stayed 10 years in France. And then FedEx asked my wife to come back to Dubai again, back in 2011. So first time 5 years, and now 13 years nearly, because we came back in July 2011.
And at that time, were you involved in some musical field in UAE or in France?
Well, I've always been passionate about music, but as an amateur, My background is mainly in business. So I work for companies, American companies mainly, but I've always been passionate about music. My father, very fond of music, and when I was a young kid, actually, you had music all over, all around, every time, very loud. It was like it or leave it, basically, because he would not lower the sound if you're being annoyed by the music. So he was so passionate about it. I could hear music all over, all the time at home. And my father was a very good pianist as well, so classical music all the time. So I started the piano when I was pretty young. And then I took up the clarinet later. I was 35, so as an adult. I wanted to learn an instrument that would actually blend facility, easily into an ensemble or an orchestra.
Mm. So the music in your life did not come like a surprise in childhood. You remember you around musical background.
Exactly. And I remember the first time when we came in Dubai, there was very little musical activity, and it was very frustrating for me. Cultural life was not that developed as it is today, basically. And when FedEx, so the company my wife was working for, told her that, okay, we need you back in France, I was very happy actually to go back to Europe because I was missing the culture. Then we came back in 2011, and the scene has changed actually because
you saw a difference, right?
Yes, I could see the difference. Many more musicians living here, and many more musical activity, particularly amateur orchestra. But at that time, I was still working for companies. And that's a few years later that I decided, okay, finished with the corporate life. I want to dedicate my time more to music.
To develop the music regionally. Yeah,
exactly.
So I know that we can say that you're also one of the developer of the musical field in Dubai and UAE. So your first project, it's, if I say it right, chamber musical series at Alliance Française.
Yes,
right?
Exactly.
So can you tell, when did you start this project, and the most interesting, I think, under which circumstances you decided to bring this project to life?
Well, it all started from a discussion between my wife and the then director of the Alliance Française, was a lady. They met at a social event, and my wife told about me because I was very interested in music and everything. And then the director of the Alliance Française said, oh, well, it would be great to meet him actually because we have a cultural agenda, but we're definitely missing this kind of event with the Alliance Française, so it would be nice to talk to him. So I met with her, and she said, okay, we need more classical music in our agenda, so can you do something for us? And that was perfect because at that time, I was going through a train of thought telling me that there are so many talented musicians in this country that I knew more and more through my orchestra, activities mainly. And I thought that something was missing, for these guys to perform more on the UAE scene. Because typically in a country, when you have opera houses or big scenes, they're always hiring, artists from abroad and not that much often, local artists. So I asked the Alliance Française, okay, I'm ready to do something for you, but the idea I have is to create a series of concerts that will be dedicated only to local artists. And they said, well, that's perfect because, we're a cultural center, we're dedicated to the local community here. So if you want to have, local artists, it's even better for us. So I created the UAE Talent, the UAE Classical Talent series. And chamber music, because the stage is pretty small, at the Alliance Française, it's a small theater. So I thought that chamber music, from one solo, recital to an ensemble of max 7 to 9 people would be ideal to fit there.
7 to 9 people, what the stage can afford
stage.
At that place that you do your concert,
yes,
right?
Yes, exactly.
And what year was that you made your first concert?
It was actually during COVID or towards the end of COVID, when regulation...
2021, right?
Yes, when the regulations, here started to allow events to take place again, of course, still having the mask and everything, but at least events were not, forbidden anymore. So we had the very first concert. I think it was in February 2021, and it was a concert dedicated to Rachmaninoff, the Russian composer. And then from then on, we started to have a regular concert happening every month.
I guess that each concert should have like a theme, or you just make it randomly. How do you select musicians and the music work, the pieces that they will perform?
So, as I told you, because I knew so many musicians, obviously it started with all the people I knew. I just tell them, guys, this is the series I'm going to create with Alliance Française. Would you be interested to perform? And I wanted to have some kind of a carte blanche, as we say, with a musician, because I didn't want to impose them anything. Because usually, when a musician is playing something that he likes, I think he will perform better. And what I was telling them, basically, I just want the program to make sense. That's the only thing I want. But apart from that, you're pretty much free, to choose whatever you want. So the first artist I approached was a French cellist, one of my friends, and he always wanted to play the cello sonata by Rachmaninoff. So we decided to do a concert around Rachmaninoff called A Night with Rachmaninoff, and we play different pieces by him. And we had 3 people on stage. So they played the trio and then the cello sonata.
And that was your first concert?
That was the first concert.
Which feedback you received from the Alliance Française itself and the public, the audience who came for the inauguration of your work?
Well, it was just amazing. Then the Alliance Française were just thrilled because they realized that there were so many, very talented people. They just didn't realize that how talented, some musician can be in that country. And same with the audience. First, it was, right at the end of COVID, so people were missing big time on cultural
everywhere, not only here, yeah.
No, yes, exactly. So they were very happy about it, and all the return I had from the audience, people came to talk to me, etc. They were like, well, that's fantastic. I hope you're going to continue. We were missing that. We didn't know there were so many talented people. So very, very positive feedback. The other thing I want to mention about those concerts, so the first thing was I wanted them to be dedicated to local artists, first thing. The other thing that I'm presenting those concerts, meaning that I'm explaining to the audience what's happening on stage. If there is any, interesting story about a composer or an interesting story about the piece they're going to hear, I'm going to tell those stories to the audience.
So you're not acting just like creator and organizer of this project, but also like a kind of MC.
I had so many friends telling me, I don't know anything about classical music, so I'm not sure I can come to your concert. And I'm like, on the contrary, I'm telling stories, I'm telling you things. Even sometimes I'm going technical, because you're going to hear an étude or a nocturne or a barcarolle or a promenade. You have so many pieces named, in the music. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to explain to people sometimes what's the difference, between a sonata and a fantasy, for instance.
And at the end, all the music, you let the artist to choose the music, but at the end of the day, it still has connection between all the pieces that
Yes.
you decide to put on the concerts.
Yeah. I leave them freedom, but it's still a discussion, between me and them. If I feel that the program they are proposing is lacking, some kind of sense or whatever, then I will not hesitate to discuss with them and telling them, okay, don't you think we should, do this more or less of that? Or so it's an ongoing discussion, and usually you agree. But I like them to have the final say, on the program.
How do you see the change of this project from the first time that you successfully performed that concert and today, after a few years?
What is interesting is that I really very much started like having my friends, playing. And then, of course, the word of mouth started to work around the place. And there are so many musicians, who are now coming to me saying, we heard about your series, that's great what you're doing, we would like to be featured. So I have more and more musicians actually asking for it, which is great. The other thing is that I started with Alliance Française, and so far I was pretty much restricting myself, to that stage only. But now I'm starting to expand a bit. First of all, in Abu Dhabi, because of course, there is not only Dubai in the UAE, and Abu Dhabi is a very, very interesting scene because I think the audience is a bit more mature there when it comes to culture and classical music. And I'm discussing now with a French university there, La Sorbonne. They have a beautiful auditorium, and they are very keen on having that kind of event as well. So the plan would be, starting next season, so after the summer, whatever concert I'm doing at the Alliance Française in Dubai, we could potentially duplicate the same concert there in Abu Dhabi. So
in two Emirates, so all the audience can assist the concerts from, like, not to be traveling between
of
Dubai
course.
and Abu Dhabi.
If people from Dubai want to travel, to Abu Dhabi, they are free to do so, exactly. But we think it's better to have the same concert being replicated in both scenes, both in Dubai and Abu Dhabi, yes.
So you see that you still evolving and you want to grow up in a couple of, like, a few years ahead.
Definitely, because I think, there are so many things you can do when it comes to music, so many work. And there are so many things to tell, so many interesting stories to tell.
Yes, you just need creativity.
Yes, exactly. So you can renew all the time, with different artists. And some artists are very creative as well because, some artists, they have different personalities. They all have, a same thing, which is talent, musically speaking, to play their instrument. But then you have some artists who are shy, who will not say a word, on stage. And some who are, on the contrary, very eager to tell stories as well. Or to be creative in the way they want to be part of the show that they are doing. And I can think of one particular person. She's a soprano. Her name is Isabel Cañada Luna. She's from Spain. And she's creating her own show. So I had 2 shows already with her that she created totally. One was called Sonorial Andaluz, which actually is a way to present the cross influence, between Spanish music and Arabic music. So she created that show around that music, from both worlds. And the second show she organized as well was called the Babel Tower. So she decided to take that myth and to say, okay, there are different languages in the world, but there is one universal language, and that is music. And she decided then from that, thinking, to create a show where she would actually sing in 10 different languages.
So, and that was in 2022, I guess, or 2023?
2 and 3.
2 and 3.
Yeah.
So you performed in Dubai and in Abu Dhabi.
So far that was in Dubai, but of course next year we'll start Abu Dhabi.
To repeat,
yes,
to repeat that project.
Yeah, because Abu Dhabi will start in 2024. After the summer in September.
This project for me sounds very interesting, and I guess everyone who will hear about, for the first time, they would guess like where to find information about this, where to book my seat.
Yes.
So where I can book my seat for that?
Well, on the Alliance Française website, which is afdubai.org, they have all their agenda, their cultural agenda. But I need to create my own media now because, as I was telling you, I was pretty much restricted so far, to Alliance Française. But I guess if I want to expand, I need to do something a bit wider. So I will come back with new media very soon after during the summer,
right?
To prepare the next season and we'll try to communicate a bit more wider, probably on Instagram and I mean the usual media, you know.
And you would have all these, like you would have their agenda for the next season.
Yes. Yeah. So usually a season is starting in September all the way to May or June. And I'm trying to program a season before the summer, meaning that I'm actually now busy, you know, preparing the next season that will start in September. So normally by the end of June, I will know at least the date, you know. I won't be for certain, you know, to have all the artists booked for every concert. Usually, you know, I'm doing 8 concerts for each and every season. But I'm trying to have at least half of a season program, so 4 concerts before the summer.
So soon we will have update from you in social medias and website of Alliance Française and your own website.
Exactly.
I would like to open the window for your another project, which is not chamber but symphony, I guess, right?
Right.
We speak about ESCO,
right,
which is a short name for which project?
Okay.
What is the full name of ESCO?
Yeah, ESCO is the Emirates Community Symphony Orchestra.
Emirates Community Symphony Orchestra.
Yes.
And you started it in
back
in a year.
I didn't started it myself. It's an orchestra that has been founded 10 years ago, incidentally, in 2014. And it started from the Emirates airline company. So that's why it was called originally Emirates Community, etc. A few passionate of music decided to create that orchestra within, you know, the staff and the premises of Emirates. And then
the staff
originally
of Emirates who wants to play
exactly
musical instrument.
Exactly. That's how it started. But at that time, I didn't know of its existence, you know. And then when I joined ESCO, that was in 2016, so 2 years after it had been founded, the orchestra has grown pretty much. And they were having actually people from any company, you know, anyone who wanted to play an instrument and play within an orchestra could join the orchestra. So when I joined, it was not Emirates Airline anymore. And the Emirates was actually very much about United Arab Emirates, you know, orchestra.
So that's why community. Everyone who can play some instrument can join.
Totally.
Who likes to play. And so you are, this is like, explain how it works in general.
Well, basically, it's everyone, as you said, you know, who plays an instrument, who have a love for music and want to learn more, actually, because when you are practicing within an orchestra, you learn a lot. And it's a mix of both amateur musician and professional musician, you know, which is great because, you know, we are helping each other. I think I can say that it's probably the only or the oldest permanent orchestra in the country, although it's not professional, because we are rehearsing every week, every Monday, incidentally, and the orchestra is performing like 3 to 4 times a year. Because we have celebrated our 10-year anniversary this year, and we had a beautiful concert 2 weeks ago, and we performed, you know, beautiful symphonic pieces and even a piano concerto with a soloist. So that's another great adventure, but it's purely, you know, how to say, it's not a professional thing, you know, but it's a very nice adventure. Because sometimes the orchestra can be hired, you know, for corporate needs. It happens. For instance, we had a gig, as we say, you know, in our musician jargon, for the Chamber of Commerce, you know, the French UAE Chamber of Commerce gala dinner. They wanted to have an orchestra, you know, to entertain the evening. So since I know these people, you know, from that organization, they call me and they say, well, we know you have an orchestra, etc., but we're interested to have you guys for entertaining the gala. So that's the only event, I would say, where the orchestra is actually and the musician are actually being paid. Otherwise, everything that ESCO is doing is to entertain the community and it's for free.
So if someone will, while listening this podcast, and someone who has his clarinet or violin, in the case, closed for 5-6 years, and he thinks like, wow, I want to join this orchestra and I want to try to play again, so he should contact you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And mainly strings, I must say. because we are in dear need of strings. But
you
any
need more
instrument are
strings,
welcome.
or you have too much strings?
No. We need more strings.
Which
yes.
is violin,
Violin, viola,
contrabass.
cello, double bass, exactly. Because now we have a nice section, in winds and brass, and because they are, as a nature, those instruments are very powerful, and you need a good balance, as you probably know, between strings and winds. And what creates
1/3.
Yes, and what creates the good balance is the volume, particularly on the string side, and we're a bit short on the volume. So that's something we're. But any musician, of course, are welcome to join us, definitely. So they can contact me. Yes.
And for this reason, I started with good pronunciation of your family name, so they will search you in the right way to find you.
Exactly. We have 120 members. Of course, not all of them are playing, all together. It never happens. But yeah, we can reach, as you're saying, depending on the kind of work that we are playing, up to 50 to 60 musicians on stage. So of course, having a place to rehearse is always a challenge. And over the years, we've been actually hosted by different establishments. Now, at the moment, we're being hosted by a French school in Alcoz. And that's nice because they actually kind of came to us and saying, "Oh, we would be very much glad, to have you guys being, an orchestra in residence in our school."
Regarding this chamber series and your orchestra now, so do you have? It seems a lot of work. So do you have a free time in general, or you just spend everything for your project?
Well, yeah, no, because I'm kind of retired, from the corporate life. Because when I started this adventure, with the Alliance Française, I was actually a bit bored, I would say, with my current job as a corporate. So I decided to spend all my time with music and in organizing music projects. So now I'm fully dedicated actually to both, my series of concerts in Alliance Française and ESCO. So I definitely have time, on my side to organize all this, yes.
Do you have some next project that you already know that would happen after summer, for example, with the chamber series or your community orchestra?
Yeah, so very much concentrating on Abu Dhabi, and both, for the chamber series and for the orchestra. First of all, as I told you, with ECSO, because we are celebrating our 10th anniversary this year, and after the summer, it will still be, 2024. So we had the anniversary concert in Dubai already, and we'll have the anniversary concert in Abu Dhabi. So the same concert that we had in Dubai, we're duplicating him at La Sorbonne, then in Abu Dhabi. So for ECSO. So that's the first project that we'll have. And then, of course, we'll have the usual season, with Alliance Française that will resume end of September in Dubai. And we're going to start the chamber series in Abu Dhabi probably in January.
Philharmonic State Orchestra, in international level, it's a face of a country in cultural field.
Yeah.
So, in your opinion, how UAE will change internationally and global-wise when they will establish state Philharmonic Orchestra?
I think they should. And it's been an ongoing subject for years now. We've heard about, either Abu Dhabi or Dubai or the UAE as a country actually forming a symphonic orchestra, but it's still not there. I don't know why, I don't know what's the reason behind, but I know they should do it. I think Qatar is the only Gulf country who actually has a permanent state orchestra.
Yeah, I think it's called Royal or State Orchestra, Philharmonic or Symphony.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's the name, but at least this is the only permanent professional orchestra.
Operating with rehearsals every day.
Yes.
With a decent salary for high-level musicians.
Exactly. So they have hired, like international musicians from everywhere, looking for the best, as usual, with those countries here in the Gulf.
Yes.
But I think that's a good move, The good move from Dubai was to have an opera house. To be honest with you, I was not too happy at the beginning with the kind of program that they were having, because it was more like a concert hall where you could have almost any kind of music, not to say any kind of event, because they were. I think one year they organized a worldwide championship for squash, for instance. So nothing to do with music, for instance. But anyway, Now there is this Italian gentleman, you know, coming from Roma, who knows his business very well, and I think you can see the changes in the Dubai
Yes,
Opera
exactly, for the last year.
program. Yes, so which is great. Muscat is doing a great job with the Royal Opera House there. They have a very nice programming every year, etc. And Abu Dhabi is doing great as well. You know, they have this the Al Hossein Foundation, for instance. You have the Emirates Palace, who has a very nice auditorium, and through Abu Dhabi Classics, they're having a very nice season of classical music as well. So I think things are actually moving in the right direction. So probably the last stone, you know, that is missing to all this would be to have a state
symphony orchestra.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Can we see your field? Like, how do you live? Because
Sure.
it's your villa at the end. This is the beginning of your place where you live.
Yes.
Nice environment,
Thank
nice
you.
paintings.
Yes.
So what inspires you to think about music? Can you show us your music corner?
This is the first time in my life that I have a large enough place where to put a grand piano, you know, as opposed to an upright piano. So this is very much, you know, my mess, as you
Your
can see.
musical mess.
The musical mess, because the very first concert I organized, it was in my place, you know, even before having concert, you know, in Alliance Française or wherever. This is when we had the housewarming party, because I had so many, you know, musician friends. We decided to invite all our friends, and you know, among my friends there were some musicians, like you, and so I told them, please bring your instrument, you know, and we're gonna be playing a bit of music. Chopin. Nocturne, yeah, this is Schubert, Chopin Mazurka,
Beethoven.
yeah.
So you play all the sonatas, you know, all of them by heart.
Yes, of course, yeah. 32 sonatas, yes, of course.
And here, the last thing what
Schubert.
Schubert.
Well, this is from my daughter. Yeah, as you can see, it's not being used that much.
For a while.
Yes, yes, no. That's when she was a student. Now she's working and everything, so she's not taking it anymore, unfortunately.
It was you who painted this? The keys?
Yes, yes.
It's you?
Yeah,
Okay.
this one is me, and this one is it's not finished.
Okay.
And this one is my wife. You know, these are those kits that you buy, and then you have no step by step.
How much?
I can't remember. That was a gift from my wife, you know, for.
No, for how much do you sell it?
You cannot afford it.
Who is this part of your family?
The cat?
Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yes.
He's how he's interfering with your musical journeys. He likes music,
He likes it actually because, you know, I'm having musician on a regular basis.
and he's listening.
Coming here for rehearsing, and he's listening. Sometimes he's making noise as well. I can't tell whether it's because he likes it or not.
But for now, you didn't have any complaints from.
No, we should have a platform, you know, on the swimming pool, and put some musician.
But inside the water.
Well, not necessarily inside the water, but you know, on top of the water at least.
Because you could charge like people for the tickets for this show a lot, I think.
Yeah, I could.
Orchestra inside the swimming pool, please attend and stay tuned for that project.
Thank you.
This quiz, I made special for you, and you will understand why.
Okay.
Jacques Offenbach or Charles-François Gounod?
Offenbach.
Offenbach or Georges Bizet?
Offenbach.
Offenbach, Camille Saint-Saëns.
Saint-Saëns.
Saint-Saëns or Claude Debussy?
It's tricky, huh? Saint-Saëns.
Camille Saint-Saëns, Maurice Ravel.
Oh. Ravel.
Maurice Ravel, César Franck.
Maurice Ravel.
Maurice Ravel, Charles Berlioz.
Maurice Ravel.
Ravel, Vieux Temps.
Vieux temps. Ravel still.
Ravel is winning.
Yeah.
Ravel, Poulenc.
Oh. It's too tricky, huh? Still Ravel.
Maurice Ravel, Eugène Isaïe.
Ravel.
Ravel, Paul Dukas.
Ravel.
Ravel, Ernest Chausson.
Ravel.
Ravel, Gabriel Fauré.
Hesitating by Ravel, still.
Okay. Extra one. Ravel or Charles Aznavour?
Well, they're not playing in the same playground there, so I love them both, but okay, let's say Ravel.
Ravel. So Ravel is winning one.
Yeah. Oh, which I didn't know, actually. It's interesting as a quiz.
Thank you for hosting us here
Well, thank you so much.
in your place,
Nico.
and I hope to see you soon again. And I'm looking forward to attend your projects and concerts.
Thank you, and I'm looking forward to having you in my series of concerts because, you know, I don't know if people know, but you're an amazing violinist and musician in this country, so I'll see you
Thank you,
soon.
Stéphane. Thank you.
Thanks, Nico.